Today I have coffee, I have books, I have a cozy blanket, and let's get into it. Say hi to the camera. Furry boy. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I've been reading recently, what I thought of them, if I like them, giving you a bit of an overview of what I liked about them if I did, or what I didn't like about them if I didn't, because there is one in there, and just generally have a little catch up while I have my brew. And there seems to be an accidental bit of theme in the books that I've been reading. They all are very like war adjacent, World War II adjacent. So I think let's get going and let's start straight away with the first book. So the first book we have is Held by Anna Michaels. Anna Michaels is such a fantastic author, so I did pick this up and I didn't get around to reading it on last year's book along list price, so it was on my list for a while. But I did get around to reading it, and how would I describe this book? First of all, just based on the blurb alone, it's based in 1917 on the battlefield near the River Escott. John lies in the aftermath of a blast, unable to move or feel his legs. As the snow falls, he is lost to memory, a chance encounter in a pub by a railway, a hot bath with his lover on a winter night, his childhood on a faraway coast. When John returns from war to North Yorkshire, he is reunited with an old friend, reopens his photography business, and endeavours to keep on living. But the past erupts insistently into the present as ghosts begin to surface in his pictures, ghosts whose messages he cannot understand as the century unfolds before him. So it's a really interesting book, and I mean interesting in I read it so fast, it was so easy to get through because it's in a vignette style, so it's all, I will show you like a page, it's really short little sections and the whole book is like that. There are some longer bits, but they're all pretty short, so it's really fast to get through because the plot just moves so quickly. So that's the first part of it. I rated this 5 stars, and there are certain things that I remember from it so distinctly, but this is a book for people who love characters and who love really beautiful prose. This is such a poetic book in the way it's written. However, I have forgotten a lot of what happens in this book, and that's not because the book is unforgettable. Sorry, it's not because the book is forgettable. It's because it's not a plot-based book. It's confusing. It goes through a lot of different memories, which is the point of the book. But I couldn't put it down, and I liked it. So if that sounds good to you, then you would really enjoy this. I rated it 5 stars. I think I would bring it down to 4.5 just because I couldn't tell you the plot of it now. But it is a really good book. I would still recommend it, especially if you, like I said, really love beautiful prose, if you really enjoy her writing, you'll definitely enjoy it. I know she's written a lot of poetry, and it is so poetic as a book, and it deals really well with human emotion and trauma and how memory kind of guides us through those. It has real like humanity in it, but yeah don't get put off by the fact that she mentions ghosts at the back. It's not like a major plot point. It is, but it isn't. Like, I wouldn't call it fantasy. Really good book though, really good book, but yeah, that was probably a strange review, but that, I think it fits really well with the book. It's set over an entire century, so yeah, it has characters in it that you'll recognise. I don't want to ruin anything, but it's a really, really interesting book, and it's got really interesting characters in it. So yeah, I'm going to stick with 4.5, and I'm going to still say I recommend reading it, just so I can talk to you about it. If you've read this book, let me know if you understand what I'm saying with the plot is still actually a bit confusing. I think I understood it at the end of the book, but since then, it has left me. Bit strange, but I still like it. The second book is Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. I hope I said that right. It is set in Berlin on the 11th of July 1986. They meet by chance on a bus. She's a young student, he's an older and married. Theirs is an intense and sudden attraction, fueled by a shared passion for music and art, and heightened by the secrecy they must maintain. But when she betrays him with a colleague, the relationship takes a darker turn, just as the GDR begins to crumble, ushering in a new era whose great gains also involve profound loss. Now that sounds really good. However, I hate this book. I hated it so much. I hate the writing style. It's translated from German by Michael Hoffman. I'm sorry. I hated it. I hated the way it was written. It was really unclear. It doesn't have any it doesn't have a lot of punctuation, which I think bothered me. It's just big blocks of text without any punctuation, and sometimes it was really unclear to know if somebody was talking, who was talking, if it was an idea, a thought in their head. Sometimes the fact that it was a thought in their head would happen at the end of the sentence, and you just had to re-evaluate the whole thing you had just read. The sentences were very long. The structure just really put me off. However, I would have battled through if I had given even the smallest amount of about any of these characters. I could not stand these characters. Maybe that is the point. I know some people really ride for this book. They love it. I didn't get it at all. Yeah, big no from me on this book. Not a fan of it at all. Yeah, it won the International Book Prize last year, and I have DNF'd it. I didn't finish it. I was having such a horrible time with the book, and I find it really hard to DNF books because of the amount of books I've read that have really pulled things through at the end. However, I was just having such a horrible time I couldn't do it. So I'm so sorry, but Kairos is a big no from me. However, I know some people love it, so make your own opinions. However, if you're going by my recommendation, then this is not my recommendation for you at all. The next book, however, a huge recommendation, The Warm Hands of Ghosts. The Warm Hands of Ghosts is it's by Katherine Arden. It's set in World War One. Laura Ivans has received word of her brother's death on the field of Passchendaele. Convinced he is still alive, she goes to France as a volunteer for a hospital near the front line of battle. She soon hears whispers of a man known to many as the Fiddler, whose music allows soldiers to forget the traumas of war. Freddie Ivans is lost, trapped underground alongside an enemy soldier. His eventual death seems certain. Against all odds, the two men manage to dig themselves out and, having saved each other's lives, form an intense bond of friendship. And then they meet a man, a fiddler, who seems to have the power to make the murdering chaos around them disappear. As shells continue to fall in no man's land, might this man be Freddie's only chance of survival, or his eventual ruin? What can I say about this book? It is there were so many parts of this book where I thought, oh, this is the character that that's going to kind of pull me through the story. That's going to, you know, be like the heart of the story, or it's going to be the moment where, you know, maybe the rest of the chapters won't make a lot of sense, but hers is really like Laura's is really the one she want to pull you through the story. But then Freddie comes in and you're like, oh no, he is the main character. And then all these other characters come in, and every time I thought, I loved the characters in this book. I truly, truly loved the characters in this book. This is such a beautifully written book. I cannot express it enough. The the presence of this fiddler is so interesting. There's a real question afterwards about, is he the devil? Is he like a piper type? Who is he? In my head, I really couldn't stop thinking about the song Hotel California. So if you read it, or if you've read it, I wonder if you'll get what I'm saying with that, because it does. If you like the song, you'd probably like this book. It's just an absolutely beautiful story. I was really rooting for every character. There was real complexity in the characters. They were super multifaceted. I loved the relationships in it, as in they're obviously they have to make some really difficult choices, and you understand why they have to make them, and it's really, I think that really speaks to war and what it does to people and what it does to relationships. And obviously at the heart of this story is this relationship between a brother and a sister, and their family has a lot of trauma and a lot of complexity in it. And if you watch my other videos, I love family relationships, family bonds. So yeah, I was a big fan of this one. I think can't recommend it enough, to be honest. A classic in the making. Again, I don't remember if this was on the fiction table or the fantasy table. However, you could class it under both, but I would call it like hugely leaning towards contemporary like fantasy, if you wanted to class it as fantasy, and really I would class it as fiction, like literary fiction. So big fan of it, big fan of this one, big fan. And then the last book I was also a big fan of. Oh, I forgot to say what I rated this. Sorry, Kairos rated it an absolute like -3, 0, no, like 1 if I had to give it a star. This one I actually will also rate a 4.5 because it was just brilliant, but I'm also comparing it to my other 5-star reads, and I wouldn't class it under my 5-star reads, but it is just a phenomenal book. So I would rate this like a 4.5 for me, and that's a really high rating. Just to clarify, that's a really high rating for me. I'd say if I just like a book, it's like a 3. So it's a good rating. This one, it's the book I read just after Kairos, so that helped. But this is a book. Before I get into it, I should probably explain which book it is. It's called The Silence in Between by Josie Ferguson. Never have I read a book where I was so sure that, no, that's not true, but as I was reading this book, I was 100% sure that Josie Ferguson had done her research. She knew that what she was writing was true, that it's incredibly well researched, incredibly well plotted. So this is about Lisette. It says, I know something is wrong just from the way he says my name. I find him in the living room, his face paled, his hand on the radio as if he's trying to push the presenter's voice back inside. He looks at me and his eyes seem to be drowning. The border, he says. His voice so quiet I can barely hear him. They've closed the border. Oh, it was, oh my God. So, really this entire book is about two characters, Lisette and Ellie. There's lots of other characters and it is a wide variety of characters and they are all really interesting and well written. However, at the core, it's about a mother who is in the hospital just before, in Berlin, 1961, just as the border is closing. It's just the night before the border closes. She's having her baby there. She is told to leave her baby there. He's not well enough to travel. She goes home on the other side of what will soon be East Berlin, and she goes home to East Berlin and gets trapped there because overnight the border gets closed. Her baby is still on the other side. And then the other side of the story is about, I just want to make sure I've got the right name. Elsie, I want to say. Ellie. Ellie is her daughter. And it's also about what Ellie tries and does to like bring her family back together. It is extremely complex. I think it even quotes that poem of, I distinctly remember it quoting the poem of they came for, and I did nothing as it was not I. It came for this, it was not I. And then when they came for me, you know that poem. I just don't want to ruin the book. I just think I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin it. But the way it's written is, it's got beautiful prose. It's got real heart at the center of the book, and it is just the most beautiful book. I just could not recommend it enough. I went to go see her talking afterwards, and you can just really tell that she does her research, that she really understands human condition, and you would think that she was alive and there before this. It felt the whole time, I kept thinking it must be based on a true story. It must be based on a true story. Like, she must be just fictionalizing a real person's story, because it felt like that. It felt so real and so heart that it had so much heart that I was completely sure that there was, this did all happen, and I was rooting for them so much, and I'm still rooting for them, even though I know the ending of the book, and I'm so happy. All I want is for these characters to have a wonderful, wonderful life. And they're characters in a book, so really beautifully written. Could not recommend it enough. I think probably more than anything else, a 5-star read. Okay guys, so that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I gave you your next read, and if not, please come back for the next one and hopefully I can give you some more tips. I have read a lot of books at the moment, so I think I will need to be doing a part 2 that describes even more of the books I've done. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you on the next video.